Hey guys, it's Robert here from Mwave and welcome back to the channel. Today, we're going to be doing a comparison on these two CPU coolers from the Be Quiet range. So what are these two coolers in front of me? Well, on the left here, we have the Be Quiet Dark Rock Pro 4 CPU Heatsink Cooler, and on the right, we have the Be Quiet Pure Loop 360mm CPU Liquid Cooler. So which of these two coolers should you use? We're going to be looking into the benefits of using both of them, so keep your cool and we'll be right back. Alrighty, so let's get to it. So like I already explained, we're going to be doing a comparison on these two CPU coolers. We're going to be looking into the performance, seeing how well they can keep the CPU and GPU cool, the size of both the coolers, any noise output, maintenance required, and of course the appearance of both coolers. So how do these two types of coolers work? Both the coolers will transfer heat away from the CPU and to the base plate connected to the cooler. Now the Be Quiet Dark Rock Pro 4 Heatsink Cooler over here, it uses 7 copper heat pipes to transfer the heat away from the base plate, transferring it all the way to the heatsink. There it's cooled by the airflow produced by these two silent wing fans, pushing the heat away from the cooler. Now the Be Quiet Pure Loop 360mm liquid cooler over here uses a nickel-plated copper surface on the base plate, which acts as a water block, allowing coolant to absorb heat from the CPU and transfers it through the system all the way to the radiator. Once inside the radiator, the coolant transfers the heat into the fins at the back, which are then cooled by these 3 Pure Wing 2 fans attached to it. So now that we know how our coolers work, let's put them to the test. We're going to be using a Be Quiet Silent Base 802 PC case with identical system specs for both the coolers. Now this case does come with interchangeable mesh and solid panels for both the front intake and top exhaust. We've already done a bit of testing on this case, and we found that the solid panels did run a little bit warmer. So we're going to be using the solid panels for our testing today, so we can really put these two coolers to the test, and we get a more significant difference in seeing just how cool our systems will run. Now, we're going to be running 2 different types of stress test programs, one for the CPU and one for the GPU. For the CPU, we're going to be using Prime 95, which will run all the CPU cores to their maximum potential, pushing the CPU to its limits. For the GPU, we'll be using Superposition Benchmark, which is a 3D rendering program that will push the GPU to its maximum capacity for the duration of the test. So, let's see which of our coolers can keep its cool while performing at its maximum capacity. Alrighty, so now that our testing is done, let's have a look at the results, benefits, and features of both coolers. For the Dark Rock Pro 4 Heatsink Cooler, the maximum temperature of the CPU is 92 degrees, and for the Pure Loop 360mm liquid cooler, the maximum temperature was 88 degrees. For both CPU coolers, the GPU sat at around 70 degrees. So the Pure Loop 360mm liquid cooler did perform better during our testing, with a difference of 4 degrees for the CPU. Pure Loop also frees up more room around the motherboard, and thus can make potential hardware changes more easy with extra space upgrading your RAM, M.2 SSD, and graphics cards for instance. Of course, having more room around the CPU socket means you'll be able to see all that hardware more easy through the side of your case. Assuming of course you do have a case with a glass panel on the side. The water block also has an elegant white light that surrounds the Be Quiet logo. Additionally, Pure Loop have included a bowl of coolant that can be used to top up your cooler via the refill port, should evaporation occur over time. For the Dark Rock Pro 4 Heatsink Cooler, although its performance in our temperature test was a little hotter, it doesn't require a radiator to be screwed into the top of your case. This means you have the potential of adding even more fans. It also has a lower noise output out of the two coolers while running at 100% according to the Be Quiet website. Lastly, the Dark Rock Pro 4 is quite chunky and large, but not having a liquid or a pump means fewer moving parts for a lower noise floor even at idle. If you're running a stealthy system with minimum maintenance, Dark Rock Pro 4 might be what you're looking for. So which of these two coolers is better? Well, it's up to you. They both have their pros and cons, which will suit everyone differently depending on the PC you have or the PC you're trying to build. So if you want to find out more about either of these two coolers, or if you want to view the whole range from Be Quiet, then click on the links below. Hope you're all having a wonderful day, and I'll see you all next time.